I wasn't looking for it. I was waiting for Danny outside the restaurant where we were supposed to have lunch, when I looked up and saw Marcus across the street with a woman. There is a way a man stands next to someone he is sleeping with that is completely different from every other way he stands next to a person. His hand on the small of her back. The way she turned her face up toward his. The 2 seconds before they pulled apart, where neither of them moved. I stayed completely still until Danny came through the door behind me saying, "Hey, have you been waiting long?" I said no. Just got here. I told myself I wasn't sure. That lasted about a week, until we were all at their apartment for dinner and his phone was face up on the counter when a message came through. I was the only one close enough to read it. 4 words was enough. I waited until Danny went to the bathroom, then I cornered Marcus in the kitchen and kept my voice low. He said it wasn't what it looked like. She was a friend from work, the message was nothing, I was misreading the whole thing. I put my glass down and said, "Marcus, stop. Just stop." Something moved across his face then. Not guilt exactly, more like a man who realizes one door has closed and starts looking for another. He exhaled. Said it's over. Been over for 2 weeks. I said, "How long has it been going on?" He didn't answer. I said, "How long, Marcus?" He said, 7 months. Right then, Danny's footsteps came down the hall, and he turned and smiled at her, like we'd just been catching up. Warm, easy, completely natural. Pulling her close, while his eyes found mine over her shoulder. He called me the next morning, no apology. He moved straight past that part and went directly to "She's happy." You've seen her. She's the happiest she's been in years, and if you tell her you're not saving her, you're just blowing up her world, and she will never forgive you for it. I said, "You mean, you need me quiet so your life doesn't fall apart?" There was a pause. Then he said, "I'm saying she'll be happier not knowing. And I think somewhere in you, you already know that's true. The terrible thing is, some part of me feared he was right. Because I knew Danny. I knew how completely she loved him, knew this would not be something she could absorb and walk away from clean. So I tried a different way. Took her for coffee, and asked her gently if things felt solid between them. She looked at me like it was the strangest question I'd ever asked. Reached across the table, squeezed my hand and said, "He's been so present lately. Closer than we've been in a long time, honestly." I sat with that. Understanding that his guilt had made him a better boyfriend. That the affair ending had brought him back to her in a way she could feel. And the cruelty of it sat in my chest like something I couldn't put down. 6 weeks later, he proposed. She called me from the parking lot, laughing, crying, barely able to form a sentence. I sat on my kitchen floor and said every true thing I could find to say. I was her maid of honor. I stood at the altar and gave a speech about her loyalty, her love, how lucky Marcus was to have her. I watched him cry in the front row. I still don't know if those tears were real. After the reception, he found me near the bar, handed me a glass of champagne, and said, "Thank you." Just that. I touched my glass to his and walked away without a word. She's married now. She still calls me first. She still trusts me completely, and I still don't know. I've turned it over so many times, whether what I did was protection or cowardice. What I know is that Marcus read me better than I read myself, saw exactly where my hesitation lived, and used it. That's what I can't forgive. Not just what he did to Danny, what he understood about me. So I want to know, what would you have done?